All right, Brendan Taylor here, True School Sports. I'm with Joshua Pagan. Joshua, nice to meet you, man.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate the opportunity.
Nah, for sure. I know you got an interesting fight coming up next weekend on the Zone. You're taking on a guy that I'm very familiar with. Haskell Lydell Rhodes. 30, almost a 45 veteran. How do you feel about that fight?
I feel great. He's a very durable fighter, very tough fighter. So we prepare for the best version of him going into October 18th. So I'm excited to share the ring with him.
Okay, yeah, and it's a good measuring stick because like he's been in with a lot of name fighters. Like I know most notably recently he fought Floyd Schofield, who's a top prospect in your weight class. So it's
Yeah,
good to see what you can do.
yeah, it's gonna be great. He's really tough, very durable. I'm just excited to get that experience and share the ring with somebody that's experienced like him.
Yeah, just continue to kind of like continue that development.
For sure. Yeah.
But Joshua, a lot of people, I know you have an interesting career because you turned pro in early 2022, and this is already your 11th professional fight. So we're talking about 11 professional fights in less than a 2 year span. How are you getting so many fights in?
Man, I'm just so I've been fighting amateur for about 10 or 11 years.
Yeah.
So I've had a lot of fights. I've been going to a lot of USA tournaments. So like I know how it is to be busy and to just stay in the gym year round and ready for any opportunity that comes my way.
I know that a lot of fighters they can do that in the amateurs. When they get to the pro game, sometimes it's either the business slows them down or maybe they don't carry the same work ethic into the pro. So it's good to see a young fighter like yourself just staying in that ring, staying active, staying sharp.
Yeah, sure, sure. It's important. That's the best thing you can do is just stay ready and stay active for as much as you can.
Correct, correct. I saw that. Well, actually, before I even get into that, I wanted to kind of ask you about what brought you to boxing because this is a tough arduous sport. Why boxing? Because there's so many quote unquote safer sports than boxing. What brought you to the sport?
Yeah, well, my dad used to box when he was younger, so like I always look up to my dad, of course, and I want to be like him. So
Yeah, yeah.
uh, after we watched the first fight that I ever watched was Mayweather versus De La Hoya back in 2007. I was 7 years
Big
old,
fight.
so yeah, just like that whole atmosphere. We had a lot of family over watching the fight, so that's when I knew like this is what I want to do. Like I fell in love with the sport at that moment.
Okay, okay, and it's got you to this point where now you're one of the more active prospects in boxing. Um, I noticed because I'm originally from the South Florida area. You were training with a guy that I know pretty well down there in Herman Caicedo.
Yeah.
Uh, what was that training like with Herman at his gym, and like who were the some of the fighters you were sparring with down there in South Florida, in Miami?
Yeah, it was great training over there. Herman, he really knows a lot about the sport. He has a passion for the sport. So we sparred a lot of guys, a lot of pros up and coming. Just a lot of great work, and I want to learn from every camp that I'm in. So I definitely learned a lot in that camp.
Okay. It could be either Herman or in Detroit anywhere, but like who are maybe some fighters that you have spar that the boxing fans would know because then people really get interested in that kind of stuff like who have you shared the ring with that type of thing.
Yeah, I've sparred Bruce Carrington. I
Oh,
actually
Chushu,
sparred
okay,
him about a month ago in Vegas, actually. So I got some good
okay,
rounds with him. He's really sharp, really really great fighter. Uh, I sparred another fighter, DeMichael Harris. He's an up and coming undefeated
yep.
fighter. I sparred a guy just this past week. Uh, up and coming fighter. He trains here. What is it? Yan Santana. He's a up and coming fighter,
Okay,
12-0.
I heard of Jan Santana. He's
Yeah, really
Dominican, right?
sharp.
Dominican kid.
Dominican, yep.
Yeah, yeah, I heard of him. Okay, okay, so you
Nelson
getting good.
Figueroa from
Okay,
Detroit, Michigan. Another tough
yeah,
fighter. Some
okay,
great
so you
work.
get all kinds of looks, all kinds of different looks.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Sure.
Okay, okay. Um, you know, uh, I could be wrong, but I think I read somewhere. You had what, like roughly 90 amateur fights or close to
Yeah,
100?
about 90.
Okay,
Yep.
okay. How do you feel you're transitioning to the pro game? Because I know that's the hardest thing for fighters when they put those 8-ounce gloves on and there's no headgear and then they got to start turning the punches over a little more. How do you feel you've been transitioning in the pros?
I feel like it's been a good transition. I mean, honestly, my last amateur fight was the month before my pro debut. I fought in the USA National Tournament. I won that tournament, and then the next month, I signed to Salida Promotions, and I had my pro debut that just that the new year in January. So uh, it wasn't much to get used to. I mean, of course, no headgear, light, small gloves. It felt weird at first, but each fight I just got more and more comfortable with it.
Okay, okay. And like, I watched the tape on you last night, so I have an idea kind of how you fight. But like, how would in your own words, how would you describe your fighting style?
I say I'm the kind of fighter that can adjust in there as I go on the fly. If the fighter's like brawl, like if I'm drawn into a brawl, I can brawl. Or if I have to box, I box. I stay moving, jabbing, staying to my jab and everything. So I just feel like I can adjust to many different styles.
You're an adaptable, versatile fighter, you'd say.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Well, right now your record's 10-0 with 4 knockouts. What about people may look at that record and they may say, well, Joshua, he's a good boxer, but he's not a big puncher. What do you think about that?
Uh, People have their opinions. I feel like my resume. I've had really tough fights coming up. I fought a few undefeated guys. You're not gonna knock everybody out.
Correct.
So I guess I think that's what's important is getting the W. You know,
Hmm.
so even though I don't have 100% knockout ratio, just look at the opponents that I fought in my career so far.
Yeah, and you're taking on a pretty good veteran in your 11th fight, so you're moving pretty well. I believe it was your last fight. Maybe it was like before that, or you correct me if I'm wrong. You fought the guy Holly. I forgot his first name, but the
Oh,
Holly.
Roger Haley.
Roger Hilly, yeah, Roger Hilly.
Yeah.
And in that fight, you had a cut.
Mm.
I believe that was the first time you had been cut in your career.
Second.
Right? Second time?
Yeah, second time.
What other fight did you ever cut in?
It was in New Jersey. I fought a guy named Jeremiah Lewis Watts from Ohio, undefeated
Okay.
guy. Headbutt.
Okay.
Both fights, I got headbutt. So
Okay. Well, how do you feel like in those two scenarios you dealt with the cut? Because from when I watched you, you know, you got the cut really early in the fight, and you seemed to kind of adapt and fight a little bit more cleaner as the fight went on. How
yeah,
do you feel about adapting to cuts?
uh, yeah. I stayed calm. You know, when I got cut in that fight, I was just like, it's happened before, so just gotta stick to the game plan. I gotta give a lot of credit to my corner team too because they were all calm. They had all the supplies they needed. They took care of the cut as the fight went on, and it didn't bother me at all.
Okay. Okay. And I've seen like in your career so far, you kind of hovered around 135 and 140. Is 135 the weight class you're in the campaign at?
Yeah,
Or is
135 is that's the weight that I'm gonna be fighting
okay,
at.
okay, okay. Are there any guys? I mean, I know you got to focus on Haskell Rhodes, who's a good veteran, but like, are there any guys in the next year or so, like maybe the younger guys that realistically you think you could fight? Like maybe like for example, I mentioned Floyd Schofield. You're fighting one of his ex opponents. Do you think maybe that's a fight that could happen in
Oh yeah,
2025?
for sure. That would be. I want to fight everyone, honestly. But of course, I'm focused on Haskell Rhodes right now. But after that, we're gonna keep training and staying ready, and for whatever gets offered our way.
Okay. Apart from the champions, like, is there anybody like in that young crop of fighters that you say, you know what, it would be really cool to fight him, like that style, or maybe what the attributes they bring to the table that it gets you excited. Anybody like that?
Yeah, from 135 to 140, there's a lot of different fighters. Floyd Schofield, uh, Giovanni Marquez. I feel like that'd be a great fan friendly fight. Honestly, so just a lot of names, a lot of people out there that I I know it would be fun to watch.
Ernesto Mercado is another one. I know he's on Matchroom. Dynamic boxer,
He's
puncher
another.
type.
Yep, he's another sharp fighter. That'd be another great fight. Yeah.
Okay, so you got all kinds of options. You got all kinds of options. And that's before even getting to like the top. Just the young guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Yep.
And I know you're from Grand Rapids, Michigan, right? And we know that Floyd Mayweather came from Grand Rapids. I believe James Toney was James Toney Grand Rapids as well, or was he?
Yep. He's from Grand Rapids too.
So you got two like top guys to kind of follow in their footsteps. Have those guys influenced you at all? And if so, like how do you feel about carrying that torch of Grand Rapids? Because we hear about guys from Detroit and other parts of Michigan, but that Grand Rapids is real specific, and there's some real big names specifically from that town. So
Yeah, they've influenced me a lot. I watched a lot of their fights. I've looked up to those guys. So uh, I just see it as this. I want to be the next Joshua Pagan. You know,
mm,
being the next Floyd and everything in terms of just the business aspect of it and stuff. But I just want to be the next Joshua Pagan at the end of the day. The next, uh, the next me, basically. So
yeah,
yeah,
the only you, because
yeah,
yeah, the
pretty
only
much
you.
it.
Yeah, because I feel like a lot of fighters in boxing today, they try to actually fight like the next Floyd, and it actually kind of takes away from what they might actually other things in boxing they might do well. So
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
it's really important. But Josh, I pretty much ran through everything I wanted to run through. I don't want to hold you up too long because I know they want me to get you off here. But any final message to the boxing? What about your upcoming fight and just anything you have going on?
Uh, what was the question? I'm sorry. It
The,
was
the, the, the question was any final message to the boxing? What about your fight or anything you have coming up? Maybe even beyond this fight.
Yeah, October 18th, live on DAZN. It's gonna be a great night of boxing. First fight held at the Coca-Cola Arena in Puerto Rico. Uh, it's gonna be a great night of fights. Tune in. I'm looking forward to seeing a lot of you guys at the fight, and hopefully you guys can all watch it on TV if you can't make it.
All right, Joshua. Thank you for your time, man. God bless.
And thank you. God bless you too.